Bill McIntosh teaches AI non-stop. Success is his game, marketing's his fame. McIntosh, the marketing ace, follow his lead to the winning place with AI and a clever spin. Join him now, learn to win. Learn his way, don't delay. If you do, you'll make your fortune today.
Well, hello there. So we shall be getting started here really quickly. This is your host, Bill McIntosh, and this is the show where I help you make a lot of money as an entrepreneur. So I've been doing this a long time, 25 plus years. I personally have generated over $100 million in results over all those years. And I do this show every Wednesday so I can help you get some awesome results yourself as a new entrepreneur. Now, one thing I want to do really quickly is it looks like something wacky is happening with the stream. Let me just check something really fast. By the way, if you see me and hear me, please let me know in the chat. Okay, well, let's see. For some reason, the email announcing the show is being weird. Okay, cool. I don't know why it did not send the email. Weird. So hold on, everybody. Let me just debug this really quickly so I can bring everybody here. Okay, well, it looks like this is not going to debug easily. So it looks like we may have to do the show with a few people who managed to find us, even though the email didn't go out. It sent out to only 200 people. For some reason, it just stopped sending after 200. Very strange. So this is a good example of what it takes to succeed in online entrepreneurship, because stuff like this happens a lot, whether it's technology malfunctioning, a company you work with or a partner you work with not doing the right thing. But this stuff happens. You have to always roll with the punches and work out how to solve it, or I think a lot of people get stuck on the problem. And I'm going to just quickly... Okay, well, we'll figure that out. So while I deal with support to figure out why the email system decided to only send this to 200 people, we shall find out what's going on. Anyway, I'm happy for those of you who are here with me. Thanks for joining, and I appreciate you hanging out with me today. And for everyone else who probably, I'm guessing that the email provider is going to halfway through the show, will release the rest of the emails, and that will be that. All right, well, there we go. Nick, maybe behind the scenes, if you could let Daniel know, tell him that the email announcing the show just got stuck at sending 200, and see if he can chat with MorrowPost, because I can't talk to our audience and talk to MorrowPost at the same time. So there we go. But yeah, we use a service called MorrowPost for our main email marketing list, and they're an enterprise kind of grade email marketing provider, and usually they're pretty good. But today, yeah, they really had a mistake. Okay, so with that, I am going to carry on with the show. And Nick, are you out there?
I am. I'm
Yeah.
talking to Daniel.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Yeah.
And so everybody, welcome to the show. And today we have some really interesting content we'll be sharing with you. It is all about how to succeed. I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs, especially newer online entrepreneurs. If you've never built an online business before, there's a lot of stuff that I think people run into where you begin to wonder if it's real. Like, is this online entrepreneurship thing real? Can I really make money doing this? Can I actually have some profit, some revenue coming in? What does it truly take to make that work? And we're going to be talking today, and we're going to just spread it, put it all out on the table and let you see the truth of what does it take to actually succeed in building an online business. And we're going to be doing that from lessons that producer Nick and I got from enormous successful entrepreneurs from all over the world, who some of them have built billion-dollar companies. And we learned quite a lot from them about success and what it takes to actually break through. And we're going to be sharing some of that with you. There are some specific strategies and some things that we walked away from the mastermind that we were at that I think are valuable lessons that you can apply to how you're running your online business that can make all the difference. It can make such a bigger difference from sitting in there kind of wondering, is it ever going to happen for you? Like, if you've ever had that thought, is this ever going to happen for me? I've been studying and watching videos and trying this and trying that, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet. And you wonder, is it ever going to happen? Well, apply what we're going to be revealing to you today, and it can happen. This is real. You really can build an online business. And we met a lot of people who built some pretty amazing businesses. And many of them, they're no smarter than you. They're no more talented than you. They weren't like technical geniuses, yet they built huge, profitable businesses that completely changed their lives. So we're going to be bringing that to you in today's content. I see Mauro Post talking to me here. Let me just see if I can quickly send that to them. Okay, actually, it looks like it started sending. So slowly our audience will begin to build. Yeah, that's weird. It's going very slow, very, very slow. So our audience will creep up and join us there. And then one thing I do want to plug, I think everybody who is here now, it's kind of a lot of you are some of the regulars. Anybody here watching the show at this moment who is a new viewer of the show, give me an "I'm new" in the chat. Or if you're a veteran, let me know if you're a vet. So who here in the chat is new and who is a vet who's been on the show? You've been through the internet wars with me, or on the show. You've been in at least one or more shows. Say, I'm a veteran or I'm new. Let me know in the chat. I'd like to see if we have any new audience with us now. I think all we have are seasoned vets at the moment. But okay, let's see. A 5-month vet from Craig. All right. Earning your stripes in the internet marketing wars. Okay, good. Thank you. Anybody here new? Regina is a vet. See what else we have. Christopher has been watching for 6 months. All right, 6-month veteran. Yeah, we got kind of a tiny audience so far today, so I suspect it will build back up to our normal audience size. And usually we're used to seeing somewhere between at the peak of the show, 80 to I've seen as much as 200 people watching our show on Wednesday at our peak audience. But today we're going a little sluggish. And there's some quiet people out there who don't want to talk to me in the chat. That's okay. So now we do have subscriber only chat turned on. So if you are watching and you're not a subscriber and you'd like to chat with us, all you got to do is tap that red subscribe button. You'll see down below. It'll unlock the live chat, and it gives you a chance to ask me anything. We're going to be doing Q&A a little bit later, and that's where I'll take my $100 million worth of results, my 25 plus years of hard knocks and experience, and I'll help you build your business. So if you're stuck right now, you're trying some different traffic strategies, you need some advice, you want some help getting more people on your website, or maybe you're getting people to your website and no one's buying anything. Any of those kinds of scenarios, I'll be here during Ask Me Anything and can help you with them. Okay, cool. Then I think Nick, we're just going to go ahead and get rolling, huh? What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Then is there any other, we don't have any videos to share or anything else to share, right? We're just going to dive right into the content today.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Okay, cool. Let me just go look and see if MorrowPost is talking to me. Okay. All right. Well, so they're working on it. We've sent the email to a whopping 1,800 people so far, and it's climbing up there. So we'll see how that goes. Slowly, we'll get some build up, hopefully before the show is over. So I'm going to have to start ignoring MorrowPost and focus on the task at hand. All right. So then let's get prepped for this. So the content we've got prepared for you today is actually a little different than usual. So it's something where Nick and I together are going to be delivering the content. So producer Nick, who's been lurking behind the scenes so far today, is going to come out and we're going to deliver this together. And it'll be some of the tactics and strategies that we learned from billion-dollar entrepreneurs while we were masterminding, traveling the world. And we're going to share those with you. I think that if you can pick up, we got 10 of them. If you can pick up one or two that you can start applying in your life, I think it's going to make all the difference. I really do. So cool. Then let's do that. So I need my teleprompter to do the hook. So those of you who are vets, which I think is all of you, I record these, obviously. And we're going to record this segment right now. This one particularly is going to become part of a course and some additional materials. So we're going to record it, and you might see me doing retakes. You might hear me make notes for my editor, things like that. Don't worry, I am live with you. So we're going to go through the content, and then we're going to kick over to the live audience and go to Q&A as soon as we're done delivering the content for today's show. What we'll be doing is bringing producer Nick on as well. And let me get my screen share set up so we can do the screen share. I don't know why it does that. It is this one, not that one. And I guess we'll go, see, why does it want to do that? There we go. So we'll start out with me. And so I'm doing the first part from the teleprompter, and then the rest of it we're going to be doing with a slide deck, and I'll bring Nick on to help us deliver the rest of the content. So here we go. Want to start your dream business and make piles of profit? But maybe you're wondering if you're ever going to succeed. Maybe you've thought something like, I'm not good enough with technology, or I don't have enough money to actually make it in a business. Or maybe you've had the thought, I don't have the skills needed to actually succeed with an internet business. If you've ever had those thoughts, then please listen closely to this video. You're going to need to hear some honest truth. I want to share some truth about how you can succeed with an online business, even if you're in a situation like I just described. So let me explain. So now I'm lucky enough to travel around the globe. I get to hang out with some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs. And don't get me wrong, I've generated over $100 million in revenue with my own businesses over the years. So I've achieved some decent success. But the entrepreneurs that I recently got to hang out with, they build billion-dollar businesses. So when I had the chance to hang out on a 9-day cruise and get to mastermind with them for day after day after day, I jumped at that chance. And so I also brought my entrepreneur son along with me. So we both went on this entrepreneurial mastermind cruise with people who have built billion-dollar businesses. And I did that so that he could also learn some powerful strategies. Excuse me, need a sneeze button. And I did that so he could also learn some powerful new strategies from these global business superstars. Now, while we were hanging out, I noticed something though. There's actually nothing special about these people. These guys, these gals, most are not any smarter than you are. Many of them can barely send an email without getting tech help from their team. And they're not necessarily special or different from you and I. But there is one thing. It really stood out to me. There are a few patterns. Now, I noticed that they have these exact patterns in the way they think and then the way they act. And I bet if you adopt some of the patterns that we've noticed and you adopt them into your own life, I would bet that your business will explode. Now, as I mentioned, I brought my son Nick along. He came on this mastermind with me, and I wanted him to see firsthand what these billion-dollar patterns were. I wanted him to learn the same lessons that these billion-dollar entrepreneurs learned that help them achieve their success. And so we found 10. There are 10 recurring patterns, trends, and qualities that really stood out in this crowd. And at the very end of this video, hang around because we're going to talk about one trend in particular that will probably make people the most amount of money in the coming year. So I'd like to bring him on. It's our channel's very own producer, Nick, also my son, and he's going to share with you what these 10 patterns are, the things that he learned. I brought him along so that I could pass on success to him, and now he's going to pass it on to you because I want you to become the next billion-dollar success story. So are you ready? So let's dive in. All right, there is the hook. That good, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go on this style.
All right.
Okay. And here we go. All right, so here is Nick, my son, and also he's known as Producer Nick here on the channel. So you got two roles here.
Yeah.
Well, so it was pretty cool. What did you think about the trip? Just in general, being able to hang out with all these people.
That was awesome. That was really cool. And this kind of alludes to one of the patterns we'll talk about later. But these people, they think so big. It's kind of like shocking and jolting compared to how I operate in my life and how people every day act. I'd have conversations with people talking about my newsletter, and I was like, yeah, my big goal this year is to hit 100,000 subscribers, and it'd be very common where I'd have conversations with them where they'd be like, why not 1 million? And it's really, really interesting.
It makes you think big, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and okay, quick little mic check. Audience, is Nick's mic coming through loud enough for you guys? On my end, for some reason, it sounds a little quiet. I don't know why. Maybe it's fine, though. Might just be my laptop. So audience, do me a favor and let us know, is Nick's mic coming through loud and clear? Good idea. I need some caffeine as well. What do they say? Nick's mic sounds fine. Okay, so it's just me. So, all right, that's okay. Okay, cool. So obviously, editor, you can clip all of that out, and we'll pick it up from here. Now, I have a slide deck that I'm going to be sharing that you prepared for us, Nick, and we're going to be making this slide deck available along with some step-by-step implementation information. So what we're going to do is after this session, if you could put together an implementation guide for everyone so that they can learn how, not just what these patterns are, but how to actually implement them in their life and in their new businesses. And then we'll make that available for everyone to download for free. And this will be for all of our Ingeniosity newsletter subscribers. So if you're not yet a newsletter subscriber, then check it out. I'll drop a link into the description down below or in the comments down below where you can click it and go subscribe. It's totally free, nothing for sale. You just got to be part of the free newsletter. And then when Nick puts that together and we post it, we'll send you an email and give you access to all of these materials. And we give those guides out. We call them playbooks. We put out these playbooks every single week. So every time we release a new playbook, you'll also get that for free every single week. Pretty cool, right? So with that, let's dive into this, and I'll bring the slide deck up. So we identified 10 patterns of 8 and 9-figure entrepreneurs. And the shocking thing about it is that these patterns, they're really the only thing that make a difference between these people. I think, Nick, I think you were shocked at how some of these guys and gals, how technically challenged they were.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
When I said it, some of them need help just to send an email. I wasn't kidding. I wasn't exaggerating. I was like, some of them, that is the truth. They really, they don't have any special technical skills. But they do have some other things that really set them apart. And that's what we're going to focus on today. Okay. And so here we go. Well, here we go. Okay. Now here we go. Number 1, everyone we met who has been successful, they have a bias for speed. And what did you notice about this, Nick? Like, how did this manifest, and what you learned from these people?
Yeah, they were able to take an idea, just an idea in their head, or like a note on a napkin, take it from that into a real world product or campaign or execution strategy in an incredibly short amount of time. Like for an example would be real quick. The editor is going to have to help out with this. Plug my computer in. There we go. I'd like to contrast this with, like, I guess the typical or standard or corporate way of doing things. And it's, you have an idea, it has to pass through 6 layers of bureaucracy, corporate red tape, it has to pass through 3 different teams, and then they give you like an 8-week timeline and 4 miles. And it's the speed from idea to real thing is incredibly slow in these more traditional environments. You contrast that with these guys, and they get an I did a little bit of eavesdropping when I was there, and I went over here, people making deals and talking to each other, and it would go from idea to, yeah, let's get that done by end of day instead of 6 weeks out from now. And I also noticed that that's how you do things. I know sometimes as an employee, it's not you don't want to be pushed. You don't want to compress the amount of time we're being made to do things. But I noticed I'll give you a timeline for something I want to do, and I'm like, this will take about 1 to 2 weeks, and then you'll push me and you'll say something like, why not today?
Yeah. Well,
you'll tell me.
Yeah. So one thing I want to zero in here too is did you find that when they have an idea, right, and they execute and put it, get it done, and actually something from a mental idea into like the real world, some action, did they like spend a lot of time mapping it out and planning and researching and stuff, or did they, like, how did they, what is the difference between, because that's what you might think, right? You might think that you would have to be well researched, have everything just right, and then take action. But what did you notice here? Yeah.
No, they don't do a lot of planning. They don't do a lot of mapping. They're not, I mean, it's not a zero amount. It's a non-zero amount of planning, but it's a lot less than what you would think. It's probably like a ratio of 95% execution to 5% planning, honestly.
All right, cool. So do things fast, Don't overthink them. Don't delay them. Don't perfect them. If you're trying to decide about launching something or getting something finished, always err on the side of speed, not perfection, which flies in the face of what like corporate America and the common general public would tell you. But that in the world of mega entrepreneurship, that makes all the difference. So let's move on to pattern number 2, which is right what we were just talking about. All right. Execution is greater than planning. And talk about this.
Yeah. Like I said in the last pattern, it's about a ratio of 95% execution to 5% planning. They do plan, but it's not as much as you would think. And I'm trying to come up with an example. I had a train of thought that I lost. I had a great thought from the last point, and then I lost it. But
well, I'll give an example, right? So I know on the ship we had a chance to talk to a guy, a very interesting guy who's in the crypto space, right?
Oh, right.
And while we were on the cruise together, he had a brilliant idea for a business he wanted to put together, right? It was kind of like an extension of something he was already doing. He has a webinar and some things he was doing. And it was really interesting to watch it unfold because I noticed it was probably like day 3 when he had the spark and he decided what he wanted to do. And by the time we were done, he had strategically talked to 3 or 4 different potential partners, got a partnership agreement. Like it was a handshake. It wasn't like they did sign contracts, but they worked out all the deal points, handshake agreement, an entire business was assembled, put together, and they had a plan to act on it before they left the ship. And I would bet that it's already in action. As of right now, I would bet they're already operating. Things are already happening. And that's a business that is likely 7, probably an 8-figure business that was literally thought of, executed, and implemented in a matter of days. And again, each of the people that were involved with that had their own unique, thing that they were going to do with the business, but none of them have any particular, the resources or skills that anyone watching this video right now doesn't have.
I just remembered my train of thought. I realized they're able to, their capacity for a ton of execution, getting a business plan from, a thought in their head to, getting a business idea from a thought in their head to a real business in a matter of days. I feel like the average person, the lay person, has trouble doing that because they're averse to risk. They kind of have a level of fear. They think, what if I get bad reviews, or I did something wrong with compliance? I'm going to have a tax problem. Or what if the biggest one is, what if I don't make any money? I don't want to spend $1,000 developing and marketing this product, and then I'm out $1,000. I think that's one of the main things keeping people from executing. So to make up for that, they plan because it's a way to feel productive without actually putting anything at stake. These people, these 8 and 9-figure entrepreneurs, it's not that they will ship things and it will be an immediate success. They're able to tolerate things not going well. So they're able to bypass the time wasted on excess planning and actually get stuff done. Does that make any sense to you?
It does. As you say that, it makes me recognize some things that I do, right? So I'm very much, kind of a bull in a china shop, charging ahead, breaking things, right? You've probably noticed that, right? So
yeah.
But that's okay. I am okay with that. I know that's what's going to happen. And I think that's the difference, right? If you're not expecting things to break and you're not expecting things to go wrong at some point or another, and then it happens and it's a surprise and it's upsetting. But I go in knowing full well that I'm going to charge full steam ahead. I'm probably going to break some stuff. Some things are not going to go right, some things, and maybe as an example, like we'll launch early versions of products and let people get in and get early access to them. And then we improve the product over time because I believe I learn better and more about what the customer needs and wants by making those mistakes and learning from them what they want so that I can build that into my products, right? As opposed to mapping it all out in my head, creating a gigantic feature list, making sure the product is perfect. I launch it, and then I find out that the customers don't actually like it. So in a funny way, charging ahead and breaking stuff and then learning from that experience, to me, is more valuable than overly planning and getting it perfect. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Let's move on to number 3. Intelligence matters less than you think. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, I went there, and I guess I was expecting something different than what I had on the actual ship. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yep. Hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Are you, by the way, my headset just went off, and right now the speaker's coming from the computer. Is there an echo coming from your voice?
No echo. Noise cancellation's working great.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll go without the headphones.
Okay.
I was expecting a ship full of brilliant, like 150 IQ tactical geniuses. That was what I was expecting. I was expecting to be blown out of the water with very high IQ people. This isn't to say nobody on the ship was dumb or like low IQ. But what I noticed is there were people who were like had everyday average intelligence or slightly above average intelligence, and they were way more successful than a lot of the people who did actually have in my life that I know that have hyper intelligence. And what I got out of that is that intelligence doesn't matter nearly as much as most people would think. You can be, an average person, not that sophisticated in technology, not really be a subject matter expert in a deep subject matter expert in a particular field, and make a lot of money. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, I can think of many, many examples of people that are actually below average intelligence, right? And many of them would be first to admit it. It's not like I'm trying to insult anybody, but I think they recognize that's not necessarily their skill. But intelligence does matter a lot less than you'd think. I think that it's in the execution, not in the planning. Which flies in the face of what other people might give you for advice, but that's the truth of the matter. No matter what your background is in terms of your education or your IQ or intelligence level, that's no reason someone can't be a massive success. I know 8- and 9-figure entrepreneurs, making tens or hundreds of millions of dollars that are average or below average intelligence. So don't ever let that be something that makes someone, like, if you're out there wondering that, if your lack of technical training or skills or intelligence or whatever, if you think that might be a reason you won't succeed, let me tell you, that is not it. That is not the reason you will not succeed. If you carry forward and fail, it will be for something else, not because of how smart you were. Okay, shall we move on?
Yeah.
That goes to pattern number 4. Partnerships are paramount. What does that mean?
The people paid a lot of money to go on this mastermind / cruise, and there was content. There were speakers giving valuable talks and demonstrations, and that was very cool. And that was very valuable. But that's not why they spent so much money to go to this mastermind. They spent a lot of money because they wanted to get partnerships. They wanted to meet other people who had audiences, or they had offers, or they had connections. They were willing to shell out a lot of money to go out and make partnerships because they're so valuable for their businesses. I noticed this actually kind of surprised me. Everyone knows partnerships are important in business, but I didn't know for a lot of these people, that's the number one sales channel. It's just partnering with other people.
It could be, you might refer to this as a joint venture, right? Where two people team up to kind of market and promote one another. It can be a formal partnership when you actually form a real business entity. It can be a handshake agreement just to do stuff to help each other. There's so many forms of partnerships. It's the same thing. I have seen people make millions of dollars on a handshake. They go home, they execute a plan to help each other out, and they make each other a bunch of money. And so, in this case, we're talking about people with lots of, lots of money. And I've seen people spend $25, $50, $100,000 to be part of these masterminds. But this is not limited to the people that have money. Anyone can partner with somebody. And it's really finding somebody that has some way for you can leverage each other's skills, assets, abilities to help each other succeed. So it might be, as an example, I see a lot of like younger startups where you have one guy who is fantastic at like managing and running the business, kind of the CEO role, but he knows nothing about technology. Nick, I know you know a couple people like this, right? They're good at running a business or creating a startup, but then they want to start a software business, but they know no technology. They couldn't program to save their life. So they team up with somebody who is. And that doesn't mean they have to bust out and spend a bunch of money. Instead, they partner with them and bring them on as a co-founder. And so there's a lot of examples of this. It might be maybe somebody here has learned from me a great way of how to make information products and courses and things that you can sell, but you don't have a list and you don't have an audience. So go find someone who does and partner with them. That is another great example of how someone might be able to apply this. There are influencers and people who have lists and audiences and traffic on their websites. It's an endless sea of people like that. Just go out and find one of them and team up with them.
This is really interesting because you see partnerships working really well for people at all, like basically every point on the entrepreneurship spectrum. You see these 8 and 9 figure businessmen doing it and making tons of money, but you also see it working really well for beginners and people who aren't making any money yet or aren't making that much money yet. I think it's even better for beginners and smaller, newer businesses than the bigger ones because it's almost risk-free. You're not, when you're doing paid acquisition, you're doing Facebook ads or something like that, you are risking the money. You're not guaranteed to make that money back. That is true. But if you're partnering up with someone, and so you want to you have an offer and you find someone with an email list and you want to partner up with them and promote your offer to their list, if it doesn't do well, you don't lose any money. It's what do you think about that as a customer acquisition channel for brand new beginner entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think partnerships are where it's at because usually both parties have very little to risk. Let's say, I keep using this example. Let's say you're one of my customers, right? I know a lot of people watching here who own my business building AI tool suite, right? So you have a way to build and set up an entire business, right? But you don't yet have an audience, or traffic. So then you have very little to lose to go out and find an entrepreneur who does have an audience but has nothing to sell and team up with them, okay? They can promote you and send you traffic. And the worst thing that would happen is you won't make any sales. And if that happens, they're no worse off than when they started, right? And you have the time invested in kind of maybe building a website and using the tools I have for you that help you build the business. So you might spend a little bit of time. They might spend a little bit of time promoting you. And if nothing happens, nobody really loses anything. So it's a great low risk way to try to kickstart and launch a business. Cool. Let's go on to pattern number 5, extreme resilience. So when someone is resilient, right, they just kind of like restore and bounce back and continue on, right? Despite, think of like you see in the movies, the warrior getting hit with arrows and slings, and yet they keep going. They can still manage to recover and keep going. So how does that apply here?
Yeah, I was actually incredibly surprised by this. Almost every one of the people I got to personally talk to, they went through some sort of extreme hardship that I think for most people, they would give up. They would, sell the business at a loss or move on or, have their life destroyed. I'm talking like the FTC coming in, like business destroying lawsuits, bankruptcy, family tragedies, business partners being treacherous, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And it's not that they're completely stoic and they're like, I'm completely emotionally unaffected. They get affected and, they get knocked down. But the thing is, they get up every single time. And I noticed that it's a trait that not a lot of people have. I know you've kind of been training me. I've overcome hardship, but nothing like these guys. And I know I like the average person, I've kind of had the tendency to want to like move on, right? I've had like when I've had like Amazon temporarily shut down my jewelry store, and I was like, okay, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to do
I remember
jewelry.
this.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something else now. And you were pushing me, and you're like, wait a second, like hold your horses. Let's rethink this. You don't have to end the jewelry store. And this is something that's like a tiny fraction, 1/100th of the pain these guys have felt. And they were upset. They might have had that ended the day early, went home, but then they came back the next day and they didn't end the business. They trudged their path forward. Did you notice that?
Yeah, this is interesting to me because I found this too. I mean, it's not everyone, but a large percentage of the hyper successful people I know have been through challenges like this. And it seems to be, I don't know if it's almost like forging metal in a fire, like you have to go through this and make it through, is sort of like, and it tests your metal, so to speak. And if you can make it through adversity, you sort of, come out better for it. I don't know if it's that, or if it just tends to be a common trait amongst the super successful. But yeah, I've noticed that too. There's no shortage of, I can't tell you how many people that like Nick, we sat in the bus on the way up to that fort that we went to this 400 and something year old fort, and we got to hang out with a really brilliant entrepreneur. And he shared his story. We'll keep the name private, but he shared his story with you, right? And he had built a multi-$100 million a year business, and he was on top of the world with this business. And the rug was pulled out from him pretty much, in a very short period of time, and he had to rebuild and start over. Actually, twice, in fact. And yet he's still carrying on, being very successful.
I think it's like it's almost like a filtration mechanism. If you're doing business and you're trying to do something ambitious, you're going to come across something you're going to run into an obstacle. And I think 99% of people, not knocking them, but a lot of people don't have this extreme resilience. It's a trait. I don't have it yet. I'd like to adopt this trait myself. You're helping me a lot with that, Bill. I appreciate it. But I talk to my friends because sometimes I'll try and help my friends start businesses. They all have day jobs, but they're like, I want to start. You talk about newsletters. Can you help me start a newsletter? I want to start XYZ. And at the very first, sometimes it'll just be like a minor technical problem. They kind of freak out and they go, "This isn't for me. I'm gonna stick to my day job." And I think a lot of gurus and entrepreneurs will kind of like shame them, be like, "No, you have to stick forward." And I'm like, if you don't have the resilience, I think it's fine to stick to your day job. But unless you do,
entrepreneurship isn't a path for everyone. I think if somebody doesn't want.
Oh, you froze for a second. Is it just me? Hey, for the live audience, is Bill frozen right now for you guys?
Uh-oh, am I back?
You're back.
Oh, okay. I don't know where I cut out there, but I had a weird internet connection issue. But okay. But anyway, I think entrepreneurship is, not for everyone. It is not necessarily an easy thing. And those of you watching this are kind of seeing these traits that we're going through and realizing, like what it takes to build a business. And it's okay if that's not for everyone. The world needs all kinds of people in it. And but if you really have that desire, you've got that burning desire for something more than just a regular job, and you want to build a business, these are the honest traits that you need to adapt and adopt and make them part of you. And if you can do that, even to a little degree, boy, the odds of your success go up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to pattern number 6, extreme consistency, which this is almost contradictory to the earlier stuff about not planning a lot and, going into action quickly, but really it's not. It kind of, they do go hand in hand. So that once you do take quick action, even if it's not well planned out action, that you stay the course. So talk a bit about this.
Yeah, a lot of these people, they have a set of core activities they have to do for their business, whether it's cold emailing people to get partnerships, or they do. I run Bill's newsletter, Ingeniosity. I'm trying to get into the habit of writing for that newsletter every single day. Every one of these successful people had a core set, not too many, no more than like 3 to 5 core activities they would do every day, and they wouldn't skip it. And it's like going to the gym. They'd make sure they did it every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, without failure. And they would do it for years. And the interesting thing is, I noticed with a lot of these, they wouldn't hit traction or hit critical mass for like the first 70% of their timeline. That's like the myth of overnight success. They don't see the reverse long tail in the beginning.
You work at it for a year, and then you have overnight success, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this very channel is kind of the embodiment of that. I know early on when we started this channel over a year ago, I think you were expecting some like rocket ride to the moon, and that can happen. But I knew otherwise, and I kept telling you we're in it for the long haul, and we had to consistently show up and do the show. And the subscriber growth was slow, and it's still not as fast as I would like it to be. But we've now up to almost 25,000 subscribers. We'll probably, pass that milestone this month. But it's be through consistent action of dropping either a live stream like we're doing now, or dropping a training video and doing it at least weekly for over a year before we really started to get traction. And it's paying off tremendously. Like Nick, it is, for example, for the audience, what we do here on the YouTube channel helps my business a lot. And my sales guys, our sales manager is reporting to Nick almost daily about all the money that this channel is helping the team make. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a daily occurrence in the marketing channel on our Discord, where Jake will ping us. He'll ping me and I say, another sale from YouTube.
Yeah. So, but it was the consistency of sticking it out for over a year before we hit that. And so I think, again, a lot of people have that feeling that internet success should be overnight, because they see that, there are lots of extraordinary stories of people that did have overnight success, and it can happen. But that's actually not the usual. The usual is something much different. And this especially is in the stage of business. Like, let's say you decide your niche market, you build your website, you have something for sale. Now it's time to start getting traffic and start building an audience of some kind, and this is really where this consistency pays off, for sure. All right, shall we move on?
Yes.
Next, pattern number 7, extreme energy. Just like from Red Bull?
No, not from Red Bull. A lot of these guys, these are very wealthy people. So the average age, like 2 times 26. So the average age is like twice my age. Add some. The average age is like in the late 50s, early 60s, I would say, at this event. But the thing is, there's 60-year-olds who had more energy than me. It like caught me off guard. They're able to work all day, tend to their family, go to the gym, manage teams of 50 to 100 to more, and not be like I like Red Bull and I drink a lot of coffee because naturally I'm a little bit sleepy. So I use that to get my energy up. With these guys, it's like honestly it was impressive. I respected it, and I think this was something that was really essential for their success.
Well, I want to add something to this because I believe that energy that you see, in these people comes from purpose.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily that they have some sort of physical characteristic, right? But I think that the energy that you're perceiving and what you see in them comes from purpose. And ultimately, they decide, which is funny, you decide that, what your business is going to be. And this is why I talk about the method of niche selection that we talk about. We have a video on the channel that you should watch. There's a strategy. It's called Ikigai. It's a Japanese word that names this particular strategy on how you figure out what to do in life. And we've adopted it and we use it in how we pick niche markets and what our businesses are going to be about. And this is why, because I see so many people that if you're in a business that you don't care about, that you have no purpose behind it, it is easy to lose energy and to get discouraged and to stop being consistent and to stop taking action. And then the business eventually fails. I have experienced this firsthand in businesses that I have had in the past that were wildly successful, making lots and lots of money, yet I couldn't find myself feeling very excited about working on them. Money's great, but eventually you kind of get over that and you're like, okay, what am I doing here? And I couldn't find purpose in those businesses. And what do you know? Usually those things, I'd stop paying attention to them. The businesses would decline, and it ended up not being good. But when you can tie in the business that you start to some kind of purpose or interest that can help you be excited about what you're doing, it really does pull you through some of the challenges and adversity that you might face. It helps you have that energy that you're talking about here.
You know what? I did notice that, and I think this ties in with why a lot of people, I don't like the term burnout, but it's a cluster of traits a lot of people describe and experience. They feel burnt out, but it's usually not with their business. They talk about getting burnt out at their 9-to-5 job. They don't want to, they dread Monday. They're like Garfield. They hate Mondays. They don't feel excited going into the office. They don't like their coworkers. They're not invested in the company. They're like, why do I care about these widgets? Why do I care about XYZ? And so they lose the energy to go and go to work because they don't have that purpose. They're not invested in what they're doing at that company.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily mean like you're going to save the world, right? And you're doing something like that with your business. It doesn't have to be that. It just has to be something that you feel good about helping your customers. That's it. Or it could be like you love the creativity of the kind of business that you're in. You have to love something about or enjoy something about it, which is why if you haven't seen our video on how to pick a niche market, absolutely go check it out. In fact, we'll link to it in the description down below and in the comments so you can watch that. I think it's vital to be successful by starting a business using that strategy. Okay, cool. Then let's, shall we move on?
Yes.
Number 8, affiliates are greater than paid acquisition. I might contradict you during this one. Let's see.
Really?
Let's see. Be a battle of opinions. Let's hear your case.
We'll host a debate. Yeah, it ties into, I mentioned partnerships earlier, and a lot of the partnerships I noticed were affiliate relationships. Hey, I want to promote, I'm coming up with XYZ offer. I got this idea for XYZ offer. You want to go 50-50? I know you have 1 million people on your list. What do you think? And I thought it got me hyped. It made me want to start to develop my own affiliate relationships. On the back end, I've been considering working on like a small paid membership for my newsletter, like a premium version of Ingeniosity. And I'm thinking, what's gonna be my acquisition channel? And it got me thinking about affiliates. And I think especially for beginners, it's like we mentioned with partnerships, it's pretty low risk to try to source affiliates and use them to acquire customers.
And I want to backtrack a moment here too, for those who may not know what affiliates are, right? So an affiliate really is just when you have somebody who's willing to promote your business and then you give them commission, right? If they make a sale for you, you pay them a commission. So, let's say you go out and you find someone who has a list or has a website or an audience that they can send traffic to your business. Well, you track the sales that they make and then pay them whatever, 20, 30, 40, 50% commission, whatever it takes for them to drive that traffic to you. And that's what an affiliate is. So all the people that have our push button AI business building tool have all the tools to go out and recruit affiliates to sell their stuff. It's a really important strategy. So I don't disagree with you. I think as a launch strategy and an early growth strategy, absolutely, it's the way to go. I think as your business matures, you have to diversify and start getting into like paid ads and other forms of acquisition. But I think early on, it can be a fantastic way of acquiring traffic and leads and customers with very little risk.
Yeah. I like I said, if you're a very beginner entrepreneur and you're transitioning from someone who's never done this before to someone who's kind of more like these, will have an empire in the future, like these 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs, it's a little scary. And if you only have a small investment, you have like $1,000 put on Facebook ads, you can lose all of it and get nothing back. That's possible. And that's scary to a lot of people. With affiliates, it's not that way. If you recruit affiliates and worst case scenario, they promote your offer and nobody buys, you don't lose any money. You might be like a reputational thing, but to me, that's small in comparison to, you lose out $1,000.
Yeah. Well, also, the upside of, okay, it's a little embarrassing you didn't make any sales. But the upside is you did make sales and you're launching your business. That's a pretty big upside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they call like an asymmetric investment, where the potential upside is so disproportionately higher than the potential downside that it's asymmetric. It's a no-brainer.
Cool. Well, then let's move on to number 9, thinking big. And this is something too, I heard you mention earlier, and it affected me. I've had some decent success in life and generated a lot of, $100 million plus in revenue. Had success and failures and success again. And I always felt like I was thinking big in my businesses. But like you, as we were on the ship, I began to kind of expand the size of the game I wanted to play. So,
yeah. Yeah, I think of myself, I'm pretty ambitious. I like to set big, high targets that would be difficult to achieve. But when I talk to some of these guys, it's like a whole new order of magnitude. So one of the guys we talked to, we got to spend a lot of time with, he's closer to your age now, but when he was 26, he built a business that did over $200 million in sales. And I'm 26 now, and I'm like, oh my God, whoa! Like I know I have a lot of targets, but none of my targets was to hit 9 figures in sales, before the age of 30. But talking to people like that made me kind of rethink the scope of things. And it's energizing. We mentioned energy a bit earlier. It's very energizing. It
gives you a purpose, right? I mean, right, yeah. I realize it's a monetary purpose, but it gives you the creation of the business and the building of the thing. It can become a purpose. So,
yeah. And it's also kind of one of those shoot for the stars, land on the moon type of thing, where, you could have a super ambitious, objectively unrealistic goal. And even if you achieve 10% of that goal, oh my God, that's still pretty ambitious. You aim to, so you have an objective to grow your business to, $10 million in annual recurring revenue, and you only hit $500,000. you achieved a small fraction of that goal, but that's still really impressive. $500,000 is not nothing, you know?
Yeah. And I want to add to this one thing too. And when you talk about thinking big, this doesn't mean like dreaming of some far off thing, right? I think people will mistake thinking big for like, oh, one day, like I'm going to build this big thing some date far in the future. The thing that I noticed about the people we were hanging out with is they think big right now. They're not thinking big about, some big dream that they're going to win the lottery in 20 years. They're thinking about what is the big task right in front of me that I can make, that I can execute and grow and have a big goal of hitting a big target in the short term. Not long-term big think is good too. But here we're really talking about condensed time and short-term big thinking, which is different than dreaming about some far off goal. And it's human nature, I think, because I know like we have conversations. There are members of my team where I'll like assign them we talk about targets for them to hit, sales targets or production targets. It's funny, I'll notice that many of them want to be conservative in setting those goals and in setting those targets. And I'm constantly pushing to make them bigger and bigger, because after all, how bad is it? It's not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing if you miss the target, right? If you set your target to be twice as big and you only get halfway there, right? At the end, you really lost nothing. I think for whatever reason, people get tied up in the mental and emotional loss of like they set a big goal and they didn't hit it, and then they feel bad about it. But you have to be able to just dust yourself off and set another big goal and do it again, and nothing bad really happens when you don't hit a big giant goal.
Yeah. And I noticed none of them were bragging. Well, sometimes people were, but that wasn't that common. Nobody was, I make all this money. Look at this. I'm flexing my bank account. It wasn't a lot of bragging. It wasn't a lot of that. But they were still very comfortable just talking about numbers, talking about, I did XYZ last year. I want to do XYZ this year. And I thought that was very interesting and very refreshing. I think socially, it's kind of like a little taboo. You're not supposed to talk about money. Makes people, I can understand why. It makes people kind of uncomfortable, especially if you're kind of ambitious. But sometimes you can get like crabs in a bucket or like tall poppy syndrome if you bring up your ambitious goals, you're thinking big goals around the wrong people. But I didn't notice that with this crowd, and it was really refreshing. And it kind of, on the topic of energy from one of the last patterns and the having purpose, like you talked about, being able to communicate about your big goals, it contributes to that. And I thought that was really cool.
Well, I think it's important to find people in your life that you can talk about big goals where they won't ridicule them, they won't disbelieve you, and they can listen to what you have to say. I think it's important that you have people in your life that you can do that with, because, again, that crabs in the bucket idea is like the crabs are trying to climb out of the bucket and escape, and the ones at the bottom keep pulling them out before they can escape. So none of them ever escape, right? So if you surround yourself with the crabs at the bottom of the bucket who keep pulling you down, you're never going to make it out. And so try to find someone in your family, coworkers, associates, friends, whatever, that you can communicate some of these things with and these big goals, and they're not going to ridicule you for having the 9 and coming up next 10 traits that we've been going through, because common society will ridicule many of the things that you hear us talking about here. The thing that 99% of the world is out doing and believing and feeling are contrary to what it takes to succeed. There's all kinds of people will call it the matrix or whatever, there's all these kind of things, right? But that is the truth, is that society at large is not designed to think this way, to act this way, or to be this way. And so a lot of people in your environment will, even if they don't outright insult you to your face, they might be a little condescending, or they'll be like, yeah. They don't really want to hear your big goals. They think it's silly that you keep working on this internet business. There's all kinds of variations to this, but, like Andrew Tate in The Matrix, right? So the Matrix is real, right? I don't go following Andrew Tate, but that idea that there is this this phenomenon in society that will try to keep you in your box to go along and behave like 99% of the population does. It is real. It really does exist. So follow these traits and think big, even if someone is going to ridicule you for it. So with that, let's go to number 10. I like this one.
Yeah. AI was huge at this mastermind. It was one of the biggest topics there. Everyone's using it, and they're using it in ways that are sometimes kind of that surprise me. I work with push button AI, so I know a lot about AI, but some of the ways people were using AI kind of surprised me. And what I got out of it is, look, the biggest businesses going forward, it's not that they will use AI, they are using AI in present time to destroy the competition that's not using AI. And regardless of what you think about it, if you're not using it, then you are going to be left behind. It's an undeniable competitive edge. And, my imperative from this pattern to you is to use AI.
Yeah, well, and, I held a little breakout session, a meetup on AI on the ship when we were there. And we had a variety of different people come and join, anywhere from, we had a data scientist who's a brilliant mind in AI that was part of it, to people that had never used it before, but were clamoring for, like, how do I use it? But it was universal that everyone there knew that using AI to either start a business or expand what they were already doing was vital. And they all knew that if they didn't act, they were going to begin to fall behind. So I like it because this obviously is my field. I love building AI tools. And we do have our push button AI product that we help people build businesses with this tool. I'm all in on AI, but it is true. We are at a moment in history where there is an opportunity in front of you. And if you don't use AI right now to grab it, you will fall behind. You will miss. It's a window that is open and that will close eventually. I have a webinar that we do I'd like to invite everybody here to join me on that webinar. We do that webinar usually once a week. Actually, in fact, you know what? Let's pop that link out there to the webinar. It's as of the time of recording this, it's tomorrow. But we periodically do this webinar. We'll drop a link to it in the comments and in the description so you can attend. But in it, I talk about why now, why AI and why now. I've got a 25 plus year track record of building internet businesses, and I have been through several trends, right? I've been through the birth of the public internet, and what it was like to bring a business online when the internet was brand new and people were making fun of me for doing it, telling me that it was a fad and I was wasting my time, to the rise of social media, the rise of video marketing, certain kinds of advertising and marketing programs like the AdSense program that was launched by Google. Each one of these was a moment in time where there was an open window, and the people that went through and took action, quickly, talk about speed of action, they made so much money, ridiculous amounts of money. And I know because I was one of them, like when Google first announced their AdSense program where you could make money from showing ads on your website, I made millions of dollars because I acted quickly. That's actually much harder to do today. The people that didn't take action back when it was, a ripe opportunity, it has become much harder to do. Same with affiliate marketing. Amazon launched the Amazon Associates program, was one of the first affiliate programs out there. And then, we had rise of companies like ClickBank and others that in affiliate marketing became a brand new thing. I jumped on that. I made millions, again, because I took action early. And while it is a little self-serving, I do have an AI tool. We are selling, access to it. But it does not make that any less true that we are in one of those moments right now. And those of you who use AI to either start your brand new business or grow it, you have an existing one, you're going to have a massive advantage. And this advantage is going to go away, but we are in the middle of kind of the peak of this opportunity. And so I'd invite you to join us on our webinar. We'll pop the link into the chat and into the description where you can come join us and be part of that. But AI is the thing, and everywhere from brand new entrepreneurs who have never had a business before to the guys with billion-dollar companies that Nick and I were hanging out with, all those who are jumping in and recognize this are the ones that are going to make all of the money in the coming year. So I can't stress this enough. This one is an important one. And so with that, we're going to be wrapping things up. And I do want to remind everybody here. So for the live audience, we're going to be doing Q&A. We're going to open up Q&A in just a moment. And I've got some other important content for you in just a couple of minutes. So hang on here with those of you who are with the live audience. Note for editor, you can clean this portion of the recording up. And so here we'll wrap up the video recording part right now. And so don't forget that we've taken the slide deck that producer Nick has created for us here, and then we're going to create an action item so you'll know exactly how to take what you learn from these patterns and apply them in your own life so that you can be one of the guys on the ship with me next year when we all get together with the billion-dollar businesses. I would love for you to be there with us. So implement these, download the guide. It's totally free. Just become a subscriber of our Ingeniosity newsletter, which is free. Link to that is also in the description. With that, Nick, thanks for your help with this. And I'm glad I got a chance to bring you along and get these lessons.
Yeah. Thank you for taking me.
And so with that, we'll wrap it up. Make sure, drop a comment down below and let us know if you agree with this or maybe you disagree. Any of our 10 points that you disagree with, argue with me in the comments below. I dare you to. And if those of you who are kind of like resonating with this makes a lot of sense. Let me know how we did for providing some value to you. Drop those in the comments below. Again, like the video to help feed the algorithm. And if you're subscribed, I'll see you next time. Bye for now. All right, audience, we're still here, not going nowhere. Did you get to pop that link out there? You did. So let me go into the studio and pin it. So by the way, I know a lot of people that are on the show at the moment are already push button AI customers. But if you're not yet a customer, then I encourage you to join us tomorrow. So we're doing a live stream, a live webinar. It'll be actually not on YouTube. It'll be a private webinar that we will host in our platform. And you must register to attend. You can't just come back to YouTube. You pin that. So head on over there, and that is at pushbutton.ai/join webinar. Pushbutton.ai/join webinar.
So
yeah.
Do you want to? I gotta. I'll be right back, but for a minute or two. But do you want to run ads for a second? Then we'll take questions.
Yeah, I'm looking for the. Actually, we'll do the presidents. So here, so everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in 1 minute with some more content and your questions. Be right back.
The presidents, celebrities, or characters in this video are all fake and generated by artificial intelligence.
You know, the other day while I was resting my eyes, I woke up to find that I'd built an entire online business.
Really, Joe? How'd you manage to do that?
Well, you see,
Wait a minute, Sleepy Joe. Let me guess. You had push-button AI do all the work, didn't you?
that's right, Donald. It found me a fantastic domain name, built out a complete site, set up my shopping cart so I can get paid, and even wrote an entire email sales campaign for me, all while I was napping.
Well, I've been using push-button AI too. And believe me, my new business, it's huge. The best. So much winning, you wouldn't believe.
This push-button AI sounds phenomenal.
Oh, it is. It's almost as genius as I am.
But with better hair, no doubt.
Guys, all this talk is boring to me. What everyone needs to do is click the link of this video and go to the masterclass to see how to use this powerful technology to build their own profitable online business.
Well, if Elon says it, it must be worth a shot.
You're right, Barry. Everyone should click the link right now.
I can't believe I'm going to agree with Joe, but this masterclass sounds like it's going to be huge. Absolutely terrific. The best masterclass ever given, probably.
Okay, guys, how about we hit that link? Time is money.
All right. And we are back. And well, for some of us, YouTube is also doing an ad break. And that is happening. So some of you might be watching YouTube ads, and everybody will be back here in just a moment, and we'll get things started. And oh, you're back, Nick.
Yes, I am.
All right, cool. I see a note from JC. So if you attend the webinar, JC, I've got like 24 different testimonials I show at the end of the webinar, at the end of Q&A. So if you join the webinar, you'll see that. You know what? And maybe I'll dig some out and share them with you guys right now as a fact. So let's, but I do want to let everybody know that, JC was asking for testimonials, and I share those during the webinar at the very end. So let's see if I can find. Okay. All right. So what we'd like to do now is let's do some Q&A. So let's ask questions on topic of what we talked about. Do you guys have any commentary, feedback, or maybe you disagree with me on some one of these? Poor Nick. These were the things that Nick learned while on the webinar. I didn't write that. He did. Yeah.
All right. So we'll go chronologically. I'll start with Craig. And he has commentary. He says, it seems that there are a lot of moving parts in online marketing. Please address how successful entrepreneurs focus and simplify the process.
Well, I think there's two ways to do it. One of them is going to sound like a little self-interested, but one of them is by using a tool like Push Button AI, right? So what Push Button AI is designed to do is help make sure you don't have to work on a lot of those things. So like writing sales copy, creating courses, doing research, setting up your website, installing the plugins, finding a domain name, registering the domain name. There's so many of those kinds of tasks that it takes care of. So I would recommend that if you feel that way, obviously it's my product and I'm pitching it, but that doesn't make it any less true. Now, other than that, I would say it takes a little bit of discipline to number one, recognize what the next thing you need to do is and stay focused on it. And it's funny because, Nick, have you noticed that like entrepreneurs tend to be more like scattered and ADHD kind of people than the average public?
Yes. Oh, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that over the years. That is definitely, so those of you who are here watching, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, you probably, I'll evaluate everybody's mental conditions here, but I will speculate that you can be easily distracted, right, by shiny new objects and exciting new opportunities. I certainly am. So it takes a little bit of first being able to recognize what is the very next thing in front of you, and two, staying focused on it. And Nick, this is something I have guided you on in the last year or so of trying to remain focused like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get sometimes I can suffer from shiny object syndrome and want to jump from opportunity to opportunity, but Alex Hormozy calls them women in the red dress, like in the Matrix.
Oh yeah.
And you have to, sometimes slap my hand away, be like, stop. We have plenty to work on. And you're right every single time.
Yeah, it's challenging, right? So when you first become interested in entrepreneurship, And you start to realize, oh, look, there's an opportunity. I could do this and make some money. And then the more you start to look, you start to see other opportunities. It's like, oh, look, here's another one. And oh, there's another one. And then, you got marketers and people like me who then tell you all about it and try to sell you stuff. So they keep bringing new things to your attention. Oh, look at this. Look at this. And it's sort of like a double-edged sword because there's so much opportunity in so many directions. It's hard to focus and just pick one and not be pulled away to try to take advantage of all the opportunities that are out there and be distracted by them. So it's an awesome part of entrepreneurship, but also a frustrating one at the same time.
Yeah.
So Nick, I have an important question for you.
Okay, what's the question?
So how do astronomers organize a party?
How?
They plan it.
I like that. That one's good.
Yeah, you like that one? Okay.
Is that 4.0?
This is 4.5 did this one.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, so that's my ChatGPT dad joke, my opening dad joke of the day. So what do you rate it? 0 to 10?
That's it's decent. We'll say like an 8.1.
8.1. All right. Chat, what do you say? 0 to 10. 10 being best. How do you rate that dad joke? All right. Next question. More important questions.
Yeah. Well, this is commentary from DE Production. This is when you were talking about how having purpose can give you energy. And he says, Tony Robbins talks about this. Energy from purpose and vision and taking care of your body.
That is true. Well, there's another interesting thing that is my view that is perhaps a little controversial. And that is, I think a lot of people feel like purpose is it can be like a higher thing, right? Like a calling that you have for, that you feel like your purpose in life is. I have one of those, right? My purpose in life is to help entrepreneurs like everybody watching right now. So I am like, I've kind of come to the realization that is my biggest impact that I can make. And I love helping people like you build and grow a business and achieve the kind of freedom that I have through building internet businesses. It's down to the core part of who I am, and I love doing it. There's one example of a purpose. Other people's purpose might be more charitable in nature and trying to do something that helps, whether it's in a religious or spiritual angle, or help with humanity, or help with poverty. Those are examples of purpose, but there's another kind of purpose. And that's merely doing something that you find enjoyment from, and you decide that it's a purpose. That's still a purpose. And it's, and it can still feed you the energy and the drive to build and grow a successful business. You don't have to, be curing poverty or, turning the world green or doing something like that to make an impact or to build something successful that you can personally enjoy. So, like there are a lot of things that I could potentially grab onto and go, I really like doing this, or I like the customers that this business serves, or I like the products in that business. And then I merely by decision can decide that is a purpose for me. And that can then drive me and feed me the energy and the focus that I need to make my business successful. So a purpose really can come down to just a decision, as odd as that might sound.
Yeah, that's
all right.
helpful.
Yeah. Next question.
Yes. Commentary about procrastination. Procrastination is from a person who's scared to move forward because they're afraid of the outcome, which can help them succeed. Yeah, I think, especially in business, I think that is what causes a lot of procrastination. It leads to people doing strange things on the side that aren't really that helpful because it makes them feel productive, but they're really avoiding what they really need to do. In my opinion, a lot of not that it doesn't help, but I think people overdo it where I'm doing cold plunges and meditating and going to the gym and journaling and planning.
Or over consuming content. That's another one I see. Yeah.
And they wake up at 6 a.m. and they haven't, now it's 3 p.m. and they haven't made a new customer. They haven't worked on a product. They haven't done anything that actually makes them money or grows their business, but they feel like they've been doing a lot. And I think it's kind of like a weird form of risk aversion.
Well, and I also think that, we're calling it fear. And I think that might make people think that it's this really obvious thing that you're frightened of something. And that's not necessarily the case. I think a lot of people don't notice that they have this anxiety of like, well, what happens if this doesn't work right? Or what happens if I put up my website and it looks ugly, or what if, I put out a product and people buy it and they don't like it? Or what if, like, there are all these little things, or what if I break my website if I don't do it right? And it's not necessarily an obvious fear that you're terrified something's going to get you. It's these little anxieties that are wearing away at you underneath that you don't even necessarily spot at the moment. But nonetheless, those are the things that I think stop people from doing those 9 traits we just talked about.
All right. From Craig, this is when we were talking about thinking big. He says, 47 years ago, tomorrow, in 1977, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak introduced the Apple II personal computer at the West Coast Computer Fair. Steve Wozniak wired the circuit board by hand. That's really cool. Wow. I think you know a lot more about the Apple story, but that's one of my hobbies is just learning about business stories. I listen to a podcast.
You tell me some of these stories of these businesses that today they're these multi-billion-dollar powerhouses, but their early origin stories, boy, they're rough. Like things like things like this, or some of them doing shady things to get their businesses started, even. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, we did. We talked about we should read. Maybe it did okay. Maybe we can redo it. It's the Airbnb story. They were doing some. And it's all public knowledge now. It's not like a secret. They were doing some weird black hat stuff in their early days before they got really big. And, now they're like a Fortune 500, huge publicly traded company.
Cool. Well, I'm going to dig out some testimonials for JC. But before I do, I have a very important question for you.
Oh, what's the question?
Why did the hipster burn his mouth?
Why?
Because he drank his coffee before it was cool.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. That's another strong-ish one. We'll say like 7.75. I've never gotten to 2 decimal points.
7.75. All right. Yeah. Chat audience, what do you say? 0 to 10. How good is that one? All right. Cool. So let me see if I can find my webinar slide deck. And there it is right there. So now how am I going to do this without showing the links? Here, hold on one second. Give me a moment, everyone. I will do this now. One second. I'm going to find and replace something. Find that. Replace with, what was it? Join webinar. Okay. There we have it. Okay, I got to get my presentation started, and that's not the right window. Oh, it's making me take something else off the stage. StreamYard started to be weird about screen sharing. I don't know why. Hey, there we go. So who knows? Maybe somebody who, maybe a customer in the chat. We might actually show some testimonies from some of them. But there we go. There is from Jeff W. It's amazing that by answering 2 simple questions, Push Button AI has developed a landing page, sales page, and a 10-lesson course. Good content, compelling language, targeted sales copy. Pretty good. This is from Judy. It took 3 minutes to type in my course demographic and subject, and for Pushbutton AI to generate the 10 course and lesson ideas. I tweaked one of those suggested lessons, but the rest were spot on. My course is low carb sharing recipes. Pushbutton got her a great domain name. So she was very happy with the domain name selection part of Pushbutton AI. And then we have Kathy S. I'm so impressed with the quality and professionalism of my ads and social media add-ons. The images are incredible and totally work with the theme of my course. Much better than I even expected. So Pushbutton AI is awesome. So that's from Kathy. So thank you for that, Kathy. And then these are examples of the experiences people had when they first went into Pushbutton AI and built their businesses. And so you can kind of get an idea of what to expect if you do decide to become an early access customer of Pushbutton AI. And we have a webinar coming up tomorrow, and you can join it by going to that link you see there. And it's also pinned in the chat, pushbutton.ai/join webinar. And we do have some customers hanging out with us here as well. So we'll do that. I'll just show a couple more. So I've got a lot of these, but we'll go through a few more. And then the rest of them I will show during the webinar tomorrow. There we go. Here is somebody who took what we call our ultimate version, where it comes with your own consultant. So you can actually get access to our Pushbutton AI system, and then we can make a consultant available to work with you one-on-one. They get on Zoom and chat, and they help you build your business. So that's an option. And this is from Jane. I had my first one-on-one coaching session today with Jay, and it was awesome. I highly recommend taking advantage of the ultimate option because having the ability to actually have a personal mentor adds so much value to the program. Thank you, Bill and team. Oh, that's the same one. There we go. Here's Gordon. Gordon's a little over the top, but he says, OMG, it was love at first sight. So exciting, an awesome landing page and an even more awesome sales page with such amazing copywriting. I tried to buy my own report. Anyway, so you can tell he's very enthusiastic about this, and he loves his first course, his first business that he built with the platform. So there's a few examples. I wanted to share those. And then there'll be even more after the webinar that we have tomorrow. So if you'd like to see, learn what this is all about, and you can learn how we have this entire platform that literally builds your business for you. So you can go to it with an idea, give it the idea, and it builds everything. Sets up your domain name, it does your hosting, installs your website, does all the plugins and themes and all the extra stuff and software that you need, installs it all. I even buy all the software for you. We even host it for you. It launches the business, writes your sales page, writes your emails, writes your ads, writes your social media posts, makes your logo, creates videos, creates audios, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some other things that it does for you. And it pops out a business ready for you to start marketing. And then I teach you how to actually market it and how to get traffic and how to get customers. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you can join that webinar and be part of that action tomorrow, and then hear more success stories. Cool, cool. And I see James is new. Welcome, James. And then with that, let's do some more questions.
Yeah, well, so actually, we've got really good questions. We have 4 or 5 more, but they're not on topic. They're kind of
let's just
cover them.
Yeah, let's flip it open to ask me anything. We'll go off topic. So anything I can do to help you with your business, whether it's starting your business, getting traffic, increasing your sales, maybe you're stuck trying to make a decision, whatever it might be, or you just want to say hi, pop into the chat and say hi at least, and or ask your questions. Ask me anything. We'll take it off topic and go in any direction you guys want. So there we go.
All right. So DE Productions says, I'm rereading a book, The Magic of Thinking Big. Do you know this book?
Do I have it? Let's see if I have it back here. I could swear I had it on my bookshelf behind me, but I don't see it.
So you do know it.
I do, yeah. I don't have it, but okay.
I don't know anything about this book. What's
It's a good. It's a good read.
Who's it from?
Now that's the part I'm trying to remember.
Here, I'll look it up. David.
Yeah, you know what? I listened to on audiobook in the car.
I see.
Yeah, now I'm looking at it now. David Schwartz.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like it was an audiobook that was on like the CDs. So when that you actually had to it was like a whole little book thing you had to snap open. I'm remembering it now in detail. So I didn't actually read it. I listened to it.
That's the name of the book.
Yeah. Actually, the CDs are still in my car.
Oh, wow. All right. Next question. This is a good one. I love questions like this from Christopher. He says, "Hey, Bill, starting a Montana print-on-demand business plus faceless podcast. Thinking of adding affiliate marketing too. Better to focus on one or do both? Going organic over Facebook ads, any tips?"
I would say, focus most heavily on building your audience and one monetization strategy for the moment. And then once you find traction on building your audience and getting your traffic, maybe you start to see some sales coming in from your print on demand. That might spark some ideas of, related affiliate products that you could promote, and then you can go off in that direction. But I'd encourage you to try to keep it simple and just keep taking consistent action, and then kind of learn from what happens, and then add stuff according to what you learn. Yeah.
All right. This is from DE Production. So he says, "I've had good business partners and bad ones. Any tips on picking a good business partner?"
I am very cautious when it comes to like a formal business partnership where I own half of a business and someone else owns half of a business. I've had partnerships that were awesome until they weren't, right? So, the funny thing is I've partnered with family members over the years, and that has actually worked out fairly well for me. And it sometimes can be a very difficult thing to partner with family members, but, I am very cautious about bringing in an outside partner who I don't know really, really well, and letting them have ownership of a company of mine.
I can think of you've given me, because remember when I was trying to hire an intern and I was interviewing people, you gave me a tip. You said, ask them. You said you would try and go trick them to see if they would complain. If they would complain about a previous, these were interns who were still in college, so see if they complain about a previous boss or like a class or something. And if they were, big complainers, that was usually a red flag.
Yeah, gossipers, complainers about, who are kind of like a little nasty about complaining about past business partners or employees. I would definitely run to the hills from anybody like that. But, and I would say in the concept of what Nick and I were talking about earlier, it doesn't necessarily mean a formal partnership where, two people or multiple people own shares in the same company. You can do things that are informal partnerships or joint ventures where, you have an agreement. You probably would want to put that agreement at least informally in writing. And it's like, hey, well, if you do this, I do this, we team up, and here's how we divide up the money. Doesn't necessarily mean that you guys are forming a new company and both putting your name on it and making a formal partnership. So, and that more often than not is what I see a lot of big guys doing. It's what I do a lot. I've done a lot of those kind of handshake partnerships, some in writing, some not. But Well, that doesn't mean I own a part of their business or they own a part of my business. So that's my advice. Yeah. Now, if you're an early stage founder, here's the one exception. I mentioned, like, if you're somebody who's a CEO, but you have no technical skills, you're probably going to have to partner with somebody there. That would be an exception, or vice versa. Maybe you're a technical wizard, but you don't have the chops for marketing or running a business. Well, if you team up with someone to start a brand new business from the ground up like that, you are going to have to formally partner with them. Next.
This is another really good question from Craig. He says, specific push button AI marketing question. Advice on how to encourage leads to not stop at the free report and go on to purchase.
Email them 100,000 times.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm exaggerating, obviously. But I think people really undervalue aggressive email marketing. Now, first, you need to get into their inbox and get them consuming your emails. That's the first trick. But once you've established that and you've got that, I would not be shy about reminding them every day as to why they should buy your product. From a different, obviously, don't just repeat yourself like a mindless fly bumping into the window. You want to come up with different angles and hooks and different problems you help solve and different reasons why they should buy it. But if you can be clever with coming up with different and unique ways of communicating why they should buy your product, you just repeat that over and over again. Look, I watch very carefully the lead flow of leads coming into my businesses. What do they do before they finally end up becoming a buyer? And I think a lot of people have the misconception that I run an ad and that person clicks on the link and they come and they buy my thing. That happens, but that's not usually what happens. Usually it comes in the follow-up. And you would be shocked. I just watched a case of this where somebody has attended one of my webinars and they didn't buy, which is okay. I'm fine with that. I love hanging out with you guys live, whether you buy from me or not. But they came out and attended my webinar and they didn't buy. And then they received a whole bunch of different email promotions. And then they clicked on another one and watched another webinar, webinar number 2, webinar number 3, webinar number 4. Now that's 4 times they sat through an hour to 2 hour plus webinar with me before they finally bought. It's an interesting journey, right? But to get them from the point of that initial click and the initial interest to finally buying the product, granted, the product is not a cheap product, but that was probably a few dozen emails, maybe 3-4 dozen emails, plus getting them to attend. How many hours is that with me? That's 8 hours with me on a webinar before they bought. Right. So sometimes it takes a lot of persistent follow-up to finally get someone to buy your product. So just because you get a click and you get someone on your list and they don't buy, don't take a loss at that. You're more than halfway there. You just need to keep following up. And that would be my recommendation.
I don't remember the exact stats, but I know because I've used them in previous YouTube videos and training material. And it also depends on the channel and your niche and stuff like that. But usually you have to communicate, get in contact with someone. Sometimes you need dozens of touch points. For some channels and for some products, it's 50 plus 50. So think 50 emails or 50 ads or 50 cold calls. And this ties in
people too, that might on here on YouTube. You might come by and catch one of our shows or see one of our videos. You subscribe to the channel. You might be a subscriber for 3 months. Maybe you'll watch 4 or 5 videos. Then you go, I want to subscribe to Ingeniosity. You subscribe to the Nick's newsletter and you get some emails from him. Then eventually you sign up for one of my webinars. You show up on one of my webinars, and that journey might take 6 months even. So.
And I think, I don't know any data on this. This is just my intuition, but it seems like the more expensive, the more high ticket your thing is, usually the longer it takes for someone to pull the trigger. I know because I sign up for a co-working space a few months ago. I had known about the co-working space for a year, but I didn't really take out my credit card and pull the trigger. It took them a year of emailing me, and I'm in their remarketing funnel, so I'm in their pixel. They're seeing their ads dozens of times, seeing dozens of their emails. There's a billboard I passed by. It took like a year of that for me to actually buy from them. And, you know, at this point, I've given them like $1,000+ So, but it, you know, imagine if they weren't persistent and they didn't have their remarketing, they weren't doing email marketing, I probably would have forgotten about them. So that's a real life example.
Yeah, there you go. Now, I have a question for you.
What's your question?
Why did the computer show up late for work?
How come?
Because it had a hard drive.
4.5 is good. It's maybe it's learning. That's the best one today. Let's say like 8.3.
All right. 8.3, that's a great score.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Chat, audience, what do you say? What's the score? 0 to 10. And I'd like to do something really quick. We're going to take a very quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with the final round of questions for the day. And then we're going to talk about success and as final thought of the day. So with that, let's see. We're going to go with, oh, I don't see the other one for the masterclass. Which one is that?
Oh, I might have here. I actually left that one out, the masterclass.
And I see, got some good. Christopher gave it a 10. Lexi gave it a 10. Craig gives it a 9. DE gives it an 8.5, 8.75. Okay, good scores all the way around. I feel like I'm on a diving competition or something. So are you looking for that video?
Here, I'll drop it in the masterclass ad.
Not yet a member of Push Button AI? Then what are you doing? So I would like to invite you to a free masterclass. We're going to be covering in detail how to create an entire digital online course, an entire business, in fact, that can be set up 100% using AI. And if you'd like to attend that free masterclass, what you're going to want to do is head over right now to pushbutton.ai/free class. In that class, I'm going to show you how we can help two different kinds of people. Number one, if you've got a business and you want to add training, courses, or information to your existing business as a new profit center, or maybe a way to add value to your customers, then I'm going to show you how to do a detailed 10-module training course, including 50 to 60,000 words of content. Have it set up and built for you by AI. Also, if you're trying to start your first business online and you're looking for a great business model to make some money online, then Push Button AI is the right solution. And I'll show you how you can use this amazing tool to build an entire business like that. In a snap, Push Button AI will build an entire course for you, create video training, audio training, write your sales page for you, write 30 days of emails for you, create your logo, build your website, set up your shopping cart, set the entire thing up, create a members area so that people can pay you to get access to the course, and you get to charge money and keep all the profits. It's quite easy. You answer 2 questions and you hit a button, and it literally does everything for you. A logo, a 30-day email sequence, your sales pages for selling your product. It creates the entire training course that you can charge money for. It installs your website, sets up your hosting, launches your site. It even helps you pick the perfect domain name, all powered by AI. You just literally log in and start up your brand new business. So attend the free masterclass. I'll show you a live demo of how it works. I'll explain the entire business model so you can see exactly how does it work and how do you profit. That's pushbutton.ai/free class. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button. You'll see it down below the video down there somewhere. Hit subscribe, hit the like button. It actually will make sure that you're notified next time that we go live. We release content all throughout the week, by the way. So we have videos on additional strategies and tactics will be dropping to you all week long. Check out all of our useful content. Head over to pushbutton.ai/free class if you're not yet a customer. Every paying customer, we're going to be taking today's training. We'll take all the prompts, all the resources, everything that you need to use it, and we're going to put it in your paid members area. So you'll see it in your AI profits course inside your members area. On that note, I'll see you there. Bye for now. Oh, looks like I lost you, Nick. There you are.
No, you didn't. All right. You ready for the next one?
Yeah. Well, we got ad breaks going, so YouTube is doing its thing, but let's do it anyway. Go ahead.
All right. So this is about Pushbutton. She says, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. It's either Hot or Hot. She says, I'm still on the fence with Pushbutton AI because my niche is creating e-courses on how to create Canva templates to sell. Bill, do you think your software can do it?
I do. And the question too is, who is your ideal audience? You might want to expand and try different courses beyond just that straight how to do Canva templates. Think about what your audience needs and wants. I'll bet you there are other kinds of courses that you could sell to the exact same people. So first off, yes, it can help you with that, but also it can help expand things so that you can do courses, easily test out selling other kinds of courses to your exact same audience, the same exact, traffic you're getting that you sell Canva template, courses on, you can sell other things.
Okay. Janelle says,
which, by the way, that was Lexi, I think, right? That's
Lexi.
Yeah. So, Lexi, have you got a chance to do a one-on-one with my team? We do offer demos. So if you actually would like one of my team members to kind of brainstorm out a course and show you on the screen what, how it would come out and talk to you a bit about the product, we definitely can arrange that. So we have. I'd encourage you to schedule a demo. Would probably be the best way to do it. I think they're pretty packed right now. Hopefully they have some availability in the. So check it. It's at pushbutton.ai/demo. So if you'd like to have somebody pull up the interface and talk through with you to help you decide if it's a good choice, then definitely check that out. So it's pushbutton.ai/demo. It's where you can do that. And I know they're really busy, so. Hopefully they've got calendar appointments that are still available in there, but go check it out and see. And if you go to that link, first you're going to see a little opt-in. You got to put in your name and email. There's a video from me explaining it, and you can just go ahead and just click the button and skip the video for me and go book your appointment. Yeah.
All right. This is from Janelle. She says, I'm having trouble deciding on a topic. I have looked at 100 niches. Yes, I do love the shiny object, but I think she says TBI. I think that's traumatic brain injury. But with a TBI, it's more important to cut out a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's hard enough just as a regular entrepreneur without having to deal with that. It is hard to focus and stay away from the shiny object. So I definitely empathize with you. Yeah.
Lexi, about Pushbutton, she says, can I host my own websites?
Well, Pushbutton builds and hosts it for you. So, so it's like all the hosting is just included. It just comes with what you get. And when we build them and host them, they're built on WordPress. You get full admin access to your site. It comes including plugins. So if you're familiar with WordPress, there's like all these paid premium plugins that and themes and things that you buy to expand what your site does. We buy them all and license them for you. So you don't have to buy those either. So there's no buying extra plugins, no configuring all the plugins and themes and all that stuff. We take care of all of it and we host it, and it's all included in what you get. Yeah.
All right.
And I forgot too, one other option available. If there aren't appointments in the calendar, which I know the team is really busy right now with their appointments, but I can give you a number as well. Where did that go? That was there. So that might help you get it straight in. If there's any other team members that have, sometimes when people don't show up for their scheduled appointments, if there's somebody with some downtime, if you call that number, they just might answer. And you can try that as well. Next question.
Yes. All right. This is from Chris. He's talking about Facebook ads. He says, I am starting to do Facebook ads and wonder if it is a good idea to add your product URL to the description or if the buy button is enough.
I would say test it. I used to have a lot of luck having the URL in the text. So I can tell you I have successful testing that worked for me. But I would highly recommend you make 2 ads, and Facebook makes it really easy to test that. So you just put 2 ads in the same ad set, and they'll even set up the split test for you right in the Facebook interface. And that is my opinion is sort of almost irrelevant. Test it and look at the numbers. Yeah.
Cool. From Uplifting Videos, thank you for your mention of Ikigai and using it to figure out a niche to go into. Yeah, it is definitely, I think, really important. If you're early on and you're making those decisions about what your niche is going to be, it's vital that you go through that exercise, in my opinion. Awesome. Christopher, he's talking about a partnership he formed. He says, I started a partnership with a local gift shop and sold some stuff, and she advertises my products also. And he says, also going to help her with marketing. That's a fantastic example of, kind of doing a joint venture sort of partnership. That's awesome. Yeah. And then Love My Store, she does music. She sells music. So it says, music biz, sell our music for $1, so hard to advertise. Streaming pays $2,000 per million plays. Set up merchandise tees, $25, €25, etc. Free giveaways, TikTok dances, Insta, but still very hard. Do you know anything about the music biz? Are you selling like B-roll music for people doing YouTube, or are you like an artist? Yeah, it sounds like just an artist with like I shouldn't say just. Maybe you can clarify that. Are you an artist that's trying to get people to consume your music versus some kind of commercial purpose? Yeah, I think artist. Yeah, that is tough. I know there are. I've seen a couple people on YouTube that help with help artists, kind of get attention and promote their brand. You're probably already following some of them, I would guess. I'm not going to claim to be an expert in that particular field. I am good, however, at getting attention online. So I would think that one thing you might explore is try to think of how you might get people who do like your music to share it with others, and explore either kind of viral little things that you can do, viral contests or tell a friend things. So that's something that I would recommend you explore, because I think if you have some dedicated fans, what I've usually found is that they're more than willing to help you kind of spread your momentum and get things going, whether that is and try to do it strategically. So like, let's say you have a new song release and you're releasing it on whatever platform. Heck, maybe you're even releasing it on YouTube, let's say. Well, I would try to leverage that audience of hardcore fans and get them to not only consume it and like it, but share it and spread the word. So
So that would be one. And one way to do that is by building an email list of fans. So hopefully you've been doing that. And if you haven't, definitely work on building an email list of your fans, because they can become your army that helps you push out the messaging for your brand. So there you go. Hope that was helpful.
Awesome. Let's see. Greg has a joke. He says, "Why did the old PC have back pain? It had a floppy disk." I like that one.
So you rate his joke. What do you give it?
That's a good one. That's probably, oh God, like an 8.2.
Wow, that's strong.
Yeah, Craig should give us more jokes. That was good. All right. Looks like we're caught up. I know you had another segment you wanted to do.
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about success and sorry, my phone's blowing up. I thought it was something urgent. Yes, so we've been talking a lot about success, and the content from today was all of the different points of how to succeed as an entrepreneur. And I think it's really important to not get so tied up and your mind stuck on the tactical, interesting things, right? I think we all like to go focus on the exact marketing strategy or the new business model or the 7-step traffic method and that's really easy for it to grab our attention. Our minds are kind of built to get us focusing on those things. That's not where the money is made. The money is made in what we've been talking about today. It is in finding the patterns of what do successful people do, like whatever you want to succeed in with your business, find people that embody that and study what are the patterns what do they do and work that into your life. And it will take effort at first. It's a bit like forming a habit. It will be difficult at first. Maybe you'll take one of the patterns that we talked about today, that maybe one of them resonated with you. It's something you feel like you could improve on. So what I would do is I'd print it out, write it down, whatever, and stick it on my monitor. And then every day practice embodying that trait. If it's the consistency trait, look up on your monitor, you'll see the thing reminding you to be consistent and make an effort to do something every day that you just don't feel like doing. And work on it every day, just a little bit. So tackle one of those traits and work on it every day for a little bit. Over time, it will become part of you. People would call it a habit, but it is almost as if it will just become part of you. And then you just start behaving that way. And then move on to the next one. Take the next trait, the next pattern that you saw us talk about today. Print it out, stick it on your wall, on your monitor, wherever. Remind yourself daily to do it, and the same thing will occur. And that is really the true path to success. You have to embody those success patterns, the way people think and act to be successful, and pay less attention to the shiny objects of the newest shiny marketing strategy or business model or the newest product to buy, which is funny. I'm telling you this because I sell these things, right? I sell courses, I sell software and these tools, and they're great. But at the same time, I want you to be successful. So if what I'm selling you ends up acting like a shiny object that distracts you from what you really should be doing, I would rather you not buy it. As weird as that sounds, right? I want you to be successful. So if you need to ignore things like my stuff so that you can focus on what matters, which is these success patterns and being focused and thinking big and being consistent and being resilient and all the stuff we talked about today, then that's what I want for you. So I really hope that that advice lands home with you. And on that note, I think I will end off in a little bit of a self-serving way. We're going to talk about what we call our success sessions. It's a free service that I offer, and I'm going to play a little promotion for that. So no strings attached. It's completely free, and it can help you be successful. So if you haven't yet had a success session from one of my team members, I highly advise you to get one. Nick, any final words before we wrap it up?
No, we're good to go.
Okay, cool. Well, with that, be sure you give us a big thumbs up on this video. It will help us a lot. YouTube pays a lot of attention to that stuff. So I would greatly appreciate that thumbs up on the video today. And with that, we're going to wrap it up with this final word from me about success sessions. Here we go. We'll see you next week. Nick, thanks for all your help today. We'll see everybody next week. 25 years of building online businesses, I've discovered that it can be a confusing and overwhelming process. Luckily, I made it through all of that, and I've generated over $100 million in results across all of my companies over the years. But for many entrepreneurs, like you maybe, you might be facing uncertainty, overwhelm, confusion about what to do next to make profit online. Whether you're starting your first business or you might be trying to grow your existing business. And if you would like to get certainty, clarity, and your own roadmap to success, then I'm offering a special one-on-one consultation. This is a one-on-one success session. It is absolutely free. And the reason I'm offering this is because I've found that if you help people understand their roadmap and their path forward, that they'll do business with you when it makes sense. So by showing you and helping you get that clarity, get that certainty, and having your own roadmap to achieve success through online entrepreneurship, I know that if it's a right fit, that you'll do business with me in the future. So I'm willing to offer this totally free to join a member of my team and learn for yourself. And don't worry, there is no high pressure sales tactics here. This is just help to help you succeed. So instead of the high pressure sales, we're going to jump on with you one-on-one. We'll have an interview session to learn a little bit more about you and put together a specific program. We'll do a follow-up call and you'll be able to join one of my experts, and they're going to help you achieve the clarity that you desire so that you know what to do so you can make the maximum amount of profits fast for your unique situation. In this session, you're going to uncover exactly what business and marketing strategies are going to unlock the profits that you're looking for. You're going to uncover the best lead generation strategies for existing business owners. So if you've got a business that you want to expand, we're going to cover how to do that. If you're a new business owner, we're going to cover how to start your first successful business. We're going to help you deal with any overwhelm, confusion, or uncertainty on what to do next, which I find for new entrepreneurs is vital. Then we're going to help you figure out what might have gone wrong in the past, because chances are you've probably tried a few things and you might be frustrated with what happened. So we're going to cover what went wrong from past marketing efforts so that you don't make those mistakes again. Then you're going to discover unique methods of affiliate marketing that are not possible anywhere else. Finally, we're going to uncover any issues you might be having with mindset and the way you're approaching and thinking about your business so that you can learn what is the optimum way to get productivity, to stay motivated, to not go into procrastination, and actually get things done in your business. And then, if our push-button business building tools are the right solution for you, we will do a personalized live demo for you, and we'll show you how our tools can help you. And if it's a good fit, awesome, we can do some business together. And if not, you come away from the session with some value, knowing exactly what you need to do next. And that helps me achieve my mission in life, which is to help as many entrepreneurs like you as possible. Claim your absolutely free success session by going to the link that you see on the screen below and find exactly how we can help you. And whether or not you choose to do business with me now or sometime in the future, or maybe we don't do business at all, I am happy to be able to help you in your journey as an entrepreneur. I look forward to hearing all about your session. We'll see you next time.
Your first business doesn't have to be complicated. That's because we're at the start of the AI revolution. Before, it could take months to launch a profitable business and start cash flowing. Now you can do it in as little as one weekend. History is littered with people who've built empires by seizing the moment. They jumped in at ground zero before the door slammed shut. Imagine if you had bought Bitcoin in 2011. You'd be set for life. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, says, "We're at the dawn of a golden age of AI, and we've only begun to scratch the surface." Bezos made his billions riding the internet wave early. Now it's your turn to ride the AI tsunami to the bank. Thousands are about to cash in big time thanks to AI. But the burning question is, will you be one of them? Or will you be left in the dust? If you don't want to be left in the dust, then sign up for the Ingeniosity newsletter, where every week I'll hand you carefully researched blueprints that will help take your business from idea to income fast. Whether you're starting from scratch or looking to level up, each blueprint is designed to cut through the noise and deliver actionable steps you can implement immediately, and I would know. Because I've been able to generate over $100 million in total revenue across my online businesses over the years. You'll get my hard-won $100 million insights delivered to your inbox every Friday. And the best part? It's 100% free. Join over 5,000 other founders and business builders and get your roadmap to unstoppable growth with the help of AI. Just go to pushbutton.ai/subscribe.
You over 20 different playbooks, downloadable reports, presentations, and more free, all designed to help you start, build, and profit as an online entrepreneur. And they are all based on my $100 million in results across all of my online businesses. Because over the last 25 years, I have figured out what works, what didn't. But it took a lot of trial and error, a lot of painful lessons along the way. And I would like it so that you don't have to fumble around like I did over the years. Instead, I want to give it to you straight, the exact patterns, the exact steps that you need to follow to launch and explode your online empire this year and beyond. So whether you're just starting out or already have a business you want to grow, there is something for you, and it's totally free. So these playbooks, we release them each week, and a couple examples of them are already waiting for you in the vaults right now. These examples would be how I'm using Mr. Beast's leaked manual to blow up my own YouTube channel and make 6 figures from YouTube alone. Also, the next playbook is a simple content hack that made one guy over $1 million his first year. Also, another playbook is how one woman, she made $200,000 by borrowing traffic from other websites. Also, you'll see how to use an AI tool called Runway ML to generate AI ads that are 300% more profitable than traditional ads are. You'll also learn how to use Notebook LM, which is a different AI tool that Google puts out, and you'll see how to make tons of website traffic show up on your doorstep and explode your business. And then another example is our 5 profitable newsletter business ideas. So if you ever wanted to start an online newsletter or an email newsletter, you can start one in a single afternoon with this playbook. Those are just a few examples. There's tons of playbooks and other stuff, and we release more every single Friday. You will get another playbook that will cut right through the noise, will bring you a cutting edge, new marketing or business building strategy that will help you either get more traffic, get more money, or make your business bigger. And these are filled with growth hacks, the workflows, the ideas, the strategies and tactics that will help take you from a concept in your mind to cash flow coming into your pocket, and it'll do it fast. Now, over my $100 million that I've made across all of my different businesses, I know what works. And some of them were very painful and frustrating lessons to learn. And now, through Ingeniosity, it's totally free, and I want to share my knowledge with you so that you do not have to go through that. And I look forward to seeing you inside the Ingeniosity members area. Remember, it's free, and each resource is carefully researched, carefully curated, and we check it against all of my hard-won $100 million worth of experience and make sure it's something that is working now, today. By the way, all of it's indexed, cataloged, and roadmapped. You can log in and find these. You'll never be left in the dust again. Some of the other things that you'll get as an Ingeniosity free subscriber is you actually get to learn behind the scenes of what's going on in my own businesses, so you can see what's working in them right now. So these are not just theories, things that I am doing in my businesses. You'll see real life business experiments and case studies that we're releasing. You'll get the practical blueprints, the growth hacks, everything you can deploy. It's like plug and play. You just take the training, implement it, and you can get results. So as a free Ingeniosity subscriber, you'll get all the practical cutting edge AI tactics that you can use right now in your business so you can participate in this AI revolution. It's all free. It's all right now waiting for you. Go to pushbutton.ai/subscribe. So go to that link that you see on the screen or down below in the comments, click it, and it's totally free. I'll see you over there.